Good morning everybody and welcome to the final day of Vlogmas and my final video of the year, which feels a bit crazy. Oh, I've got a nice little shiny red head. I've just been walking the dog. It's so cold. I've put on this very attractive black roll neck base layer underneath my clothes. So I feel like I look a little bit like I've got a neck brace on. But yes, I've just taken Pearl for a walk in the cold. It was rather chilly. Today's plans, I am not writing for the next 5 days. I'm taking a good break from my book, which is going to be nice, very much needed. But I've got lots of things to get through. I need to wrap Russell's stocking presents. I need to make one of Russell's stocking presents still got that to make. So yeah, I'm gonna do some sewing. I'm making him a little toiletry bag. I've made a few this year as presents, and every time I've made them he's been like, oh, that's really nice, and like dropped a bunch of hints. So I got some fabric out of my stash that I've had for ages, which has got like vintage cars on it, which is very Russell. And then I've got some scrappy tartan fabric, which I'll use for the lining, and I'm going to whip that up this morning. And then wrap presents, and then I might bake my gingerbread this afternoon, which I want to make, but I might do that tomorrow morning before we leave, I'm not sure, so we'll see. I need to do my nails because they look absolutely dreadful, so I need to do my nails for Christmas. I've put a wash on, and then I'll need to get that all out to dry and ready to pack. So yeah, it's a bit of a busy day of just getting jobs done, bits and bobs done. We are going tomorrow morning to my family, so it is actually the 23rd of December today. This will be going out on the 24th, but I'm not filming on the 24th because it's just family time, and I need to take a holiday. So I know a lot of people for Vlogmas will film right up until Christmas. Some people even film, you know, Christmas Day, but yeah, that won't be me. I will be taking a holiday. So yeah, come with me today as I get ready for Christmas, my last sew of the year, my last bits of crafting. Oh, I finished my beret last night as well, so I'll make sure to show you guys that. So I'm going to block it. Somebody in the comments suggested I block it with a plate in it to get that beret shape, which is such a great idea, so I'm going to do that this morning as well. So yeah, just lots of odds and ends. I'm not going to lie, it's actually quite late. It's 11:30 in the morning. I slept for like 9 hours. This never happens for me. I didn't get to sleep until 1 a.m, but then I slept in until like 9:45, which just like never happens to me. I'm just like so tired. I just absolutely crashed out, which was great. It's what I needed. I did like wake up a bit, as I always do, especially when Russell got up for work at 6 a.m, but yeah, I had a really long sleep, which was really nice. So yeah, I'm sort of like trying not to get stressed by that. I'm trying not to be, because I needed it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I haven't started my day early enough. I'm just gonna take it one step at a time and just slowly make my way through. Haven't got an awful lot to do tomorrow morning, so if things need to be done tomorrow morning because Russell's working until lunchtime, then so be it. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm gonna make myself a bit of breakfast at 11:30 in the morning and then get on with some sewing. So, have a vintage plate. I'm going to give this a go. Thank you to whoever suggested it to me. I got a comment. Thank you so much. I'm going to give this a go. Ooh. And see what happens. I didn't want to go too big because obviously I don't want a ginormous beret, but it does help it sit quite well for blocking. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that on the heated rack, I think, because I don't want that to, I want it to be dry quite quickly. So yeah, let's go do that. Okay, so this is the fabric with the vintage cars on. I had this in stash, and then I already have the pattern, and then I happen to have a zip, just the perfect colour, in stash, and then I've also decided to line it with this fabric because I think that'll be quite fun. This is some old bedding. It's actually bedding that my husband had at university that I've kept for ages because I was like, that would make some like fun pajamas and stuff, and I just haven't ever got round to it. So I'm like, I'll use a bit of that to line the bag, and then I've got my wadding. So I'm just going to cut this out now and yeah, get started. Okay, so here is the finished bag with the little cars on it. I'm afraid I didn't get any footage of me making it because I went wrong and then I had to unpick it, and it basically took me twice as long to make it, and it was quite stressful. And sadly I've ended up with a little hole because I had to unpick, and it's really difficult to unpick, and I tried to be as careful as I possibly could, but it was, I just ended up with a little hole. I'm going to cover that in fray stop and hope for the best. But yeah, here's the little toiletry bag finished. I need to tidy it up a bit. You can see there's a bunch of threads from where I unpicked the zip, and all the threads are on there. So I'm just going to tidy this up. But yeah, it was a bit more stressful than I needed it to be, but never mind. It's done now. Hi everyone, I am just sitting down to start doing my nails, which feels good to have reached that point in the day. I am very tired, I feel like. Yeah, I am very much looking forward to having some time off over Christmas. Not as much time as I would have liked, but there is going to be some time off, which is good. I hope that light's not too bright. I just need it to be able to see what I'm doing. But anyway, I thought I would sit down and try and answer some of the questions that I haven't answered yet. There's a few left. Some of them are like crossing over. Like a lot of people have asked, like when I started knitting and why I started knitting and things like that, which I already answered in my previous Q&A video. So if you've not seen that one, go and watch that for the answer to those. But yeah, somebody asked when I started sewing and why, and the reasons are the same as knitting. It's because I wanted to have a more sustainable wardrobe, but that felt very much my style. I started learning to sew in 2021. That's when I first started sewing my own clothes. So it's been 4 years in like February, March time. It will have been 4 years. So yeah, I feel like I'm still very much learning. But it is nice to be able to like just read a sewing pattern and not have to think too much these days. And then another question I had was, how did I meet my husband? We met at university. We were both studying at Oxford Brookes at the time, and we met at church. I met him the first Sunday at university. I actually left my course in the end. I really didn't like it, and I went and studied creative writing at Oxford University instead. But yeah, that's how we met. So we were little babies. We were like 20 years old when we met. And yeah, to be honest, I met him and within a couple of weeks I knew that I was going to marry him. It was as simple as that. So yeah. And then I had another question, which was, when are we moving? And did we buy our dream homestead? We are moving in February, hopefully. It's not definite yet, but that's the date we're moving towards, because we're buying a property and it takes quite a long time in the UK. Last time we bought a property, it took 5 months. So we agreed the price on this property at the beginning of October. So obviously February would be 4 months. So yeah, hopefully we can get in February. And did we buy our dream homestead? No, we did not. Homesteads in the UK, it's sort of what would be like classically seen as a homestead in a different country. In this part of the UK are around £1 million. And I'm not making that up, like that's not me exaggerating and being over the top, genuinely. That is the price. Land here is extremely expensive and property here is extremely expensive. So we have looked at places with acreage, which is what we want. I saw one recently that came up with 17 acres and it was £1.9 million. So no, we've not bought our dream homestead, and I don't know if we ever will be able to afford to buy our dream homestead. There are cheaper areas in the UK where land is a bit more affordable, especially if you go to Scotland or some parts of Wales. Land is a little bit more affordable in Herefordshire as well, which is on the border with Wales. So there are areas, you know, houses and things like that are a bit cheaper in the north of England, but to be honest, property has been getting steadily more and more and more inaccessible for the younger generations in the UK. Those who were on the property ladder, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago are fine because they just sell their properties and move on to another very expensive property. But yeah, it's people are completely priced out of the market, and you're talking like, you know, my husband and I struggled to buy our first home, which is a 2-bedroom mid-terraced house with a tiny garden, and yeah, we're both university graduates, so like things are not easy in the UK property wise, and buying land is extremely difficult. But we have bought a beautiful cottage. I'm very happy with it. It's a 4-bedroom cottage, and I feel incredibly lucky that we've been able to afford to buy that, because it's given me the space to be able to have a studio and a writing room, and also there's space for my husband to work, and also there's space to grow as a family, which is really great. The garden is a bit of an interesting garden. I'll obviously show you guys all of this when we actually do move into the property. I'll do a full tour, and we're going to do quite a lot of excuse me we're going to do quite a lot of renovating, so I'm quite looking forward to taking you guys along with me, because we will be like thrifting furniture, you know, renovating as much of it ourselves. We're hoping to lay down floors, paint walls, etc. We've done some of that here in this house, so it'll definitely be a very handmade DIY secondhand home. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that, so I'll take you guys along with me. But the garden, there is quite a lot of space, but it's a complete mess, and it's also on a hill, so it's a terraced garden with some flat patches, but it's going to take a lot of work and it's going to require some interest in growing. But it was certainly the largest plot that we looked at. It was the largest house and the largest plot that we looked at. It has a front and back garden. The front garden though is completely north facing, so it's probably not going to be growing much there. And the back garden, as I say, is terraced. So we're planning to grow food and do all the things that we've done here to sort of take it to the next level. There's space for chickens, ducks, and so we're looking at runner ducks because they don't need a pond, they just need like a bucket of water. And we may look at getting like a hive of bees at some point, but sort of the dream of having like 5 or 6 acres is definitely not like even remotely possible at the moment. And you know, my husband and I are not not doing badly. We feel very blessed. We've been, you know, my husband's been very lucky. Well, he's worked very hard. He's been very lucky with his job, but he has worked very hard. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is in the UK, and it's only getting worse, sadly. And there are a lot of people, I have a lot of friends and stuff who, you know, can't afford to get on the property ladder at all. It's really rough right now, so I feel very lucky to have what we have. My thought is, in the village, there is a large plot of allotments. Sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat today. There's a large plot of allotments in the village, and so if I need more growing space, that's definitely an option that we can look at in the future if I start trying to sort of grow things and it doesn't quite work because of the terracing situation, or I just need a lot more space, then I will look at taking an allotment because they're easily walkable from the house as well, which is lovely. I have friends who keep sheep and chickens and bees and things, you know, like lots of different friends who have different animals and things, and they just simply borrow land. There are quite a lot of very wealthy people in this area who have properties with lots of land that they're not using. You know, they're not farmers, they just bought properties with land. I mean, our neighbours down the road have got a cottage with 5 or 6 acres or something, and they have let a local beekeeper keep, I think, 4 or 5 hives of bees there. So that is definitely something that happens, is that people will say, yeah, of course you can use a corner of my field, of course you can do this, of course you can do that. There's also renting, there's also the opportunity, of course, it's cheaper to buy a piece of land that cannot be built on and cannot be used for domestic use, only can be used for whatever, keeping animals, etc., growing on. You can buy those, they're still very expensive, but that's cheaper often than trying to buy a house with that actually attached to it. Land is just worth so much here because basically they build on it. That's what it comes down to, is they build, you know, you have 6 acres, you build 3 homes and you can sell them for huge amounts of money because that's the way it is in the UK at the moment. It's very sad. Land is not valued. Gardens are not valued either. Gardens are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They're absolutely tiny. We really struggled. We were looking at 3-4 bedroom houses with the tiniest gardens you've ever seen, and I was just like, this just isn't going to work for me, you know. I am pleased with what we've managed to get, but it is far from my dream. And I'm a big believer in making the most of what you've got, and still hoping and still holding on to my dreams, but also not just living for that, because, you know, we've got something lovely and great now. So I'm looking forward to the house. Sorry, that was a very long answer to your question. Another question I had is, what is my job? So I am a writer, that's my job. I write features for crafting magazines, and I obviously am now an author as well, and that is now my job. I get paid to do that. And then a huge part of my job now is also YouTube. YouTube has become like part of my work basically this year, which is really lovely, because I really enjoy doing it. And then every now and again I take on some like freelance content creation work and things like that. So it's sort of like bits and bobs and all over the place, but basically writing and YouTube are my forms of income. And I'm hoping that in the next couple of years that writing. I mean, I really enjoy writing articles, but I'm hoping that it will mostly become books. I'm hoping for a, you know, second book deal and things like that after this. So yeah, watch this space. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, and somebody else asked me how long does it take to get to Scotland from where we are, because I keep saying we're going to Scotland for New Year. It takes about 8 hours-ish. I think it's technically 7.5 hours drive, 7.5 hours drive, but then if you factor in all the stops, because we stop every 2 hours to stretch our legs, go to the loo, get Pearl out the back of the car. Pearl's great in the car because she's an ex-racer, so she was ferried around a lot as a young dog, so she's absolutely fine in the car. She sleeps pretty much the whole time. I remember the very first time, we'd only had her for 3 months and we went to Scotland for a holiday, and she slept for 8 hours. She woke up for the last half an hour of the journey. Like, we got her out and made her go for a wee and stuff, and she'd just get straight back in the car and go to sleep again. Yeah, she woke up the last half an hour and was like, oh, where am I? What's going on? So she's really easy to take up. I don't know if we have a family in the future and stuff. I don't think it'll be anywhere near as easy. You know, I don't think you can put a baby in the car for 8 hours. So yeah, it'll take us about 8.5 hours to get up there. So it is quite a long journey. It is quite a trek. And then one other question that I had was, do I have any sustainable beauty brands that I like? And to be honest, I don't have a huge amount of stuff. Like, I'm still very much exploring myself. I find it quite a difficult, like, the beauty industry is particularly difficult to find like sustainable options. I'm a big fan of Lush. I've always liked their moisturizers, and I use an eye cream from them at the moment, and then obviously they do lots of other stuff like bath bombs and lovely things like that. And then I also quite like Lumine, who are, I think, are they a Finnish brand? I think they're Finnish. And they do lovely beauty products, and they use like natural ingredients, and they're quite luxury products, but they are not too ridiculous in price. They're a bit more of an accessible price. And then recently I started trying, I think it's, I don't know how you pronounce this, I think it's shampoo or shampoo or something like that. They're Pitta hair products, because they're specifically designed for hair loss, and I had long COVID this year, and I experienced huge amounts of hair loss due to long COVID, which sadly is a symptom of long COVID. And I've been trying theirs out, and those I know are vegan. I don't know if they're organic, but they're definitely like natural vegan, and I think a little bit more sustainable. But the beauty industry is one of those supply chains that is quite, I mean, you know, it's the same in most industries, to be honest, but it is quite difficult. And you know, like everything, often the best option is to try and make as much of it yourself as you can. I already make all my own food from scratch and try to grow it and make all my own clothes. Beauty is just one of those things that I've not quite entered into, although I do make my own soap these days, which means that I sort of can know what goes into it and how it's made and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's all the questions. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I might do like a New Year's Q&A or something. I might do like my plans for 2025 plus answering some more questions and things. If you guys would like that, let me know in the comments below. I've taken all my nail polish off now, so I'm now going to redo it, and I'm just going to chill. I feel a bit frazzled after the stressful sewing session. I hate it when it does that, when you like, I'm not very good at just putting something down, and obviously like today I didn't really have the luxury of being able to put it down either, because it is Christmas Eve tomorrow and I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to have my sewing machine. Today was the only day I could get that done, and I know I probably should have done it back in November or something, but writing my book was just taking everything from me. So I was not very organised with that. I was quite organised with other things like that I knitted and things I made a lot earlier, but the one hand sewn present I made, I made 2 days before Christmas. But hey ho, we won't do that next time. But yes, I'm gonna do my nails now and chill out, and once they're dry, I might get a chance to do some embroidery or something relaxing, put on a bit of Vlogmas or something on YouTube. I've decided to wait until Russell gets home, and he's going to help me make the last few vol au vent little pastry things for Christmas, and also some gingerbread. I'm just going to do that with him because I just need to chill out and put my feet up for a bit. So yeah, I'll chat to you guys later when we start doing all of that. Okay, so nails are done. Nice Christmassy red. And this is where I'm up to with my embroidery. Not loads left to do, but I did keep thinking how nice it would be just to work on it over my Christmas holidays. So sorry about the shadows. So I'm not like, you know, oh no, I haven't got it done. I'm like, sort of done that on purpose. But yeah, I have never done embroidery before, and I've absolutely loved this. It's basically like colouring in with thread. I found it a lot quicker than cross stitch, because with cross stitch you have to check every single cross, like what colour it's supposed to be and where it's supposed to go, and you have to follow the grid. Whereas with this, you sort of just look and you go, okay, this is fishtail stitch, and you just thread up and you just go and you just colour it in that stitch. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, so I'm definitely going to do more embroidery in 2025. And if you would like to have a go at some embroidery, then check out the sponsor of today's video, who is Kado. The discount code that I have been given by Kado is running out on the 25th of December, so I need to tell you guys about it now in the very last video of the year. They have got the electric winder, which is a really great tool for knitters and crocheters who use beautiful woolen skeins of yarn. And then they also have lots of other bits and bobs on their website, including loads and loads of lovely embroidery kits. I've got another embroidery kit that they kindly sent to me, which I will be doing in the new year to go in our new home. And as I say, I found this one really very easy to follow and really enjoyable. So yeah, make sure you check out Kado. All of the information is in the description bar below, including the discount code and the link to the electric yarn winder and their website. So check that out if you're interested in grabbing yourself a deal, 40% off before the end of Christmas Day. I realised, oh, almost dropped the phone. I realised the other day that I didn't actually show you the finished crackers. So these are the finished crackers. They're not as crispy as I've made them in the past. I think I didn't like roll them out really thin like I often do. But they're still really tasty. They're so simple, these sourdough. They're from Farmhouse on Boone, and they're just literally like discard flour, and I use seedy flour, which works really, really well. And then they've got herbs in them, olive oil, and they're just absolutely delicious. So that's the crackers we've made. And then we've obviously made vol au vents, half of which are in the freezer, and the sausage rolls we made at the weekend. So yeah, lots of lovely treats. And then we'll roll out the gingerbread in a little bit and bake that, ready to take with us tomorrow. Hi guys, I just realised I have one more question to answer. I'm trying to answer all the questions in this video, and that was for somebody who was wanting to get back into sewing and wants easy dress patterns that aren't too like fiddly with fitting and things like that. What would I recommend? So I'd always recommend Tilly and the Buttons if you're learning to sew, or if you're wanting something easy to follow. Their patterns are great. And in terms of the dresses that I would recommend that aren't too fiddly, the Mabel dress is really, really great. It does have shirring, so you have to be sort of, well, you don't have to be confident, because I'd never done any shirring before I made the Mabel dress last year. So you just have to be willing to do that. A little bit of shirring on that one, but that makes the fit really easy. And then the other one I like as well is the indigo dress, which can be done in so many different ways. You can change the sleeves quite a lot and the length, and you can add tiers and stuff. If you look at it on Instagram, if you have Instagram, then there's loads of different variations. You can look at other people's for inspiration, but yeah, I would probably recommend those two. Also, the Lotta dress is quite good. That's an elasticated waist one, another Tilly and the Buttons one, that doesn't have any darts or anything on the bust. It just has an elasticated waist to bring it in. So yeah, those three would be my recommendations. I'm now going to cut out all my gingerbread and bake it, and hopefully it'll be really yummy and tasty. And then I think we're probably going to chill out. There is the All Creatures Great and Small Christmas special, and if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that was my favourite TV show in the whole wide world. I did a whole video on Helen Harriet's knitting pattern style stuff a few weeks ago. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching the All Creatures Great and Small Christmas special, and I'll probably do some embroidery. And yeah, that is probably it for Vlogmas. I probably won't speak to you guys again, so I would just like to say a huge thank you for all of your support this year. It has meant so much to me. My channel has grown hugely. I can't quite believe how quickly it's grown. I love chatting to you guys in the comments. I love hearing about your lives and what you're making and what you're doing. I love the fact that lots of you message me on Instagram and stuff. We've created such a great community here, and I feel so like just proud and happy to be part of this and doing this, and I couldn't do any of it without you. So thank you so much for your support, and especially a huge thank you for your support over Vlogmas, because I really wasn't sure how Vlogmas would go down, because obviously I normally do sit down videos talking about sewing and knitting and things like that, and so to sort of have you guys coming around with me doing my little slow handmade Christmas, it has meant the world to me that you have loved it and you've commented and you've really got involved. It's just been so nice to like chat to you guys, find out what you're doing for Christmas. So yeah, thank you so much for all of the support. There won't be another video now until early 2025, and I think it'll be a roundup of everything that I made in 2024. So look out for that one. I hope you guys all have the most amazing Christmas, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. I hope it is the loveliest festive time for you all, and I wish you all a very happy 2025. See you in the new year, guys. Bye.
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this.